Well, hello there, friends. Daniel Midson-Short here. It's Sunday afternoon. It's about 2 weeks now since I competed in the World Championships of Public Speaking in Denver, Colorado. And since then, I've had a lot of time to reflect. I've had a lot of time with family last week or so who came to support me. So finally, everyone's returned home and, having a little bit of time to myself, I started to, of course, reflect on my lessons, my experience over the last couple of weeks, and especially my experiences in the semi-finals and finals, which just happened on August 22nd and 24th a couple of weeks ago. And I thought I would spend, a little bit of time in this video today breaking down some of my experiences and my lessons to try and kind of share them, not just for myself, but also hopefully they're interesting and of use to you if you're on this path, whether you are a competitor or you're trying to achieve something in your life. Hopefully these ideas are useful for you. And they're kind of a bit stream of consciousness, so maybe it makes sense, maybe it doesn't, I don't know. But we're going to go for it, and we'll see how this video turns out. So a little bit of context. This was my 5th time competing for the World Championship of Public Speaking. I started in 2014, and I was very fortunate in my very first year, right out of the gate, to reach the semi-final level of the contest. And like every person probably who reaches that level in their first or couple of years in the contest, I was convinced, of course, that I would become the world champion of public speaking that year. And we all know that didn't happen. A very good mentor, an amazing man, Dhananjaya Hettiarachchi, won in 2014 and is still my favorite world champion today. And so that was an interesting experience for me in 2014 to come home somewhat empty-handed. I did win a 3rd place in the semi-finals, which everyone told me was an amazing achievement in my first year. But of course, me being a person who always wants to achieve the most I can, I felt it was a bit of a failure. But over the years since then, I've continued to compete. And I competed again in 2015. I made it again to the semi-finals. 2016, I didn't compete. 2017, I made it back to the semi-finals again. 2018, I got as far as my district and I came 2nd. And then this year, in 2019, I competed again in the semi-finals, and I was fortunate to be chosen as one of the 3 competitors to go through to the finals. So after 5 years of trying, I finally achieved my goal of competing in the World Championships of Public Speaking, which is known, the finals of the World Championship. The International Speech Contest is called the World Championship of Public Speaking. There were 6 of us in the contest this year. Great friend of mine, Mr. Aaron Beverley, won the contest, and it was a huge joy of mine to sit next to him the moment he was announced and to be part of that experience. For me this year, as some of you know, and hopefully this video will give a bit more context, I kind of went into the contest with a different approach, a different reason for competing. And what I wanted to do this year more than anything, especially if I could make the finals, was to honour a very dear friend of mine and a mentor, a lady named Cindy Carpenter, who helped me many years ago to become a better speaker. And then we became great friends and we became kind of allies competing for the World Championship over the years. Cindy and I competed together in 2014, 2015, and I believe 2017 as well, and before she got ill. And so she had kind of been, a cheerleader for me. She'd been a companion on the road to it, and we were just this amazing kind of team together trying to compete to both win the World Championship. And Cindy's dream, she always told me, was for her and I to stand together on the final stage, to be co-competitors on the World Championship stage. And last year on August 21st, actually last year, Cindy sadly passed away. She was diagnosed with cancer and she passed away after a long battle. But after being part of her funeral and her memorial, I made a promise to myself and to Cindy and to people who were very close to her that when I would get the chance finally to be on the World Championship stage, that I would honour her by actually sharing a speech, which was a story about her and I, and basically bring her to the final stage. And my thought was that I could be the speaker and she could be the speech. That was, behind what I was trying to do. That was really the ultimate goal. Of course, when you're doing a speech like that, it's a very sad speech. It's not something that's uplifting. It's not entertaining. It's not a typical contest speech. And, I knew that going into the World Championships. So through all the rounds this year, from the club to the area, division, district, the regional level, which is a video judging level, and then the semi-finals, I had a different speech. One that I was very proud of. That was called Not My Problem, an amazing, sort of story and a lot of fun to deliver. And I was very fortunate to be chosen as part of as I said, the 3 who got through to the World Championships as a result of delivering that speech effectively. And I also think just years of experience being a competitor, I learned the road and I became more skilled as a speaker, and that kind of led me to the success that I was seeking. And after I was announced as one of the winners of the semi-finals, coming onto the stage as a winner, I became incredibly emotional. I didn't realize how much it meant to me, the fact that I was going to get to deliver this story about Cindy and I on the World Championship stage, especially just 1 year after she passed away. So I, finished the semi-final ceremony and took some photographs and, talked to everyone after, who was wonderful, coming and congratulating me. And then I went back to working on the final speech for the next 2 days. And I was very fortunate to have my younger brother there with me. Matt, if you're watching this, thanks for helping. He sat with me for many hours going over and over and over the speech that would become In This Together, which was for the final. And I practiced it so many times that I felt confident that I could get through the speech on the stage on the day quite effectively. I never knew if it would win. I kind of had a suspicion that it wasn't the right type of speech for the finals, but I felt that the promise I had made to Cindy and to myself and to the people who love Cindy, that I would do this as a memorial for her, in some ways that was more important to me than winning. Of course I wanted to win, and I still want to win, and it's still a goal to reach the ultimate world champion of public speaking level. But this year in particular, I had a different reason in mind, and so I had to go for it. And as many of you have already watched the speech, it was an incredibly difficult thing for me to get through, because just before I went onto the stage, about a minute before, I got this overwhelming amount of emotion that just surged up inside me, almost to the point where I started crying behind the stage, because I was in this moment where I was going to deliver this speech for my friend. It was her dream come true. It was my dream come true. And it impacted me much more than I thought, same as it did when I was announced as one of the winners of the semi-final. And I don't know if you've ever been in that situation, whether you've spoken at a funeral or something like that, but that's what it felt like. It was just this overwhelming amount of, it was grief, it was joy, it was a lot of emotions at once. And somehow, for the first minute or so of my speech in the World Championships, I held it together. And I purely believe that was the practice that I had done for, several weeks beforehand, the days before, just practicing over and over and over. It was enough to, kind of carry me through that first couple of minutes. But obviously the emotion was still there. I was burying it down, and it started to overwhelm me halfway through the speech. And even though I messed up a little bit in the middle, it still carried pretty well, and people laughed at the jokes, which was wonderful. I appreciate you all doing that. And I got through the speech, and despite it not winning and not placing in the World Championship, I can genuinely say it's one of the speeches I'm most proud of in my life. The fact that I got to deliver that for my friend Cindy and to bring her to the final stage, that to me, as ridiculous or as corny as it might sound, that to me is worth more than winning the World Championship this year. The fact that my friend got to, in a sense, live her final dream with me, and we were together on that final stage. And that really brings me, I guess, to my biggest lesson this year for myself, and maybe it resonates for you too, is that sometimes in your life, you have to follow your own path. You have to do what's right for you in the moment. We have conventional types of success that we all try to achieve, whether it's, love, fame, finances, respect, whatever the conventional type models are. In the case of this contest, obviously it's winning, right? All of us want to be the winner. We want to be the world champion of public speaking. But I knew going into the finals that was probably not going to happen for me this year, just based on the kind of speech I had, and the way that people were responding to me when I was delivering it in practice runs. I knew it probably wasn't going to be a winner. And I was okay with that, because I realized that sometimes you have to win in your own way. You have to do what's right for you personally in that moment, and you have to pursue what means the most to you. Because years later, years from now, I know that speech will mean more and more to me, and hopefully to more people when they see that, I did this for my friend and for the people who loved my friend Cindy as well. It had a lot of meaning for us personally. And I realized that in some ways that's selfish as well, because I was delivering this speech in front of 2,000 people from around the world, and, also people watching online. And many of them didn't have that love or care for my friend. But maybe it kind of reminded you of someone who meant a lot to you. maybe it kind of resonated with you in a way where you've carried on the legacy of someone who you loved very much, who impacted you in a way. That was my hope. And, the core theme of my speech in the final was, we're in this together. And I really believe that's the case in this life. All of us, we are in this together. We have to support each other, we have to depend on each other, and whether we like it or not, we're in this life together. We're kind of stuck together, for good or for bad, for better, for worse. So that was my biggest lesson, is that sometimes you got to do things, your own way. You got to win in your own way. And I think also the other big lesson that I had this year, as I've reflected on it, is that persistence really matters. I've spent 5 years just trying to get to this this final level of the contest, this World Championship level. And this year, just through utter persistence and diligence and coming back every single year, I finally broke through and I reached the finals of the World Championships. And that, to me, is a really good reminder that whatever I set my mind to, I can achieve if I stick at it long enough. So often in life we look at the people who accelerate quickly, who achieve something in an amazing amount of time, and we want to be like them. We want the tricks or the hacks or the ways that they did it. But nothing takes the place of persistence. It's almost a cliche in everything you read and you hear, but truly that's the reason I got where I got this year. And I know a lot of other people I competed with, wanted to reach that stage as well. And if you didn't reach the finals of the World Championships this year, I assure you, if you keep coming back long enough, you will get to that stage. And hopefully one day, like I hope for myself, you will win. I know I'll be back. Hopefully, we'll have better results. We'll get back to the finals very soon. Obviously I've learned in this contest sometimes it takes a little longer than you think. Not every year is a stellar year, but I'll be persisting every year until it's done. So I know for me, this year has meant a lot personally. I know the people who love Cindy, my friend, and I hope for Cindy, if she's up there listening or she saw the speech, that meant a lot to her too, because that was really my goal at the end of the day. So for all those people who, have supported me throughout the years, and especially this year, it was a very difficult, challenging speech to get through. As I said, it's probably one of the most proud moments in my life to be able to deliver that for my friend and to be able to stand on that final stage after 5 years. And now, for the rest of the year, I'm looking forward to getting back to focusing on business and my health and spending time with family and friends and just relaxing a little bit, because this contest, every year I compete, it takes me from literally February through to August every single year. So it's a lot of time, it's a lot of effort, a lot of money spent, to chase this goal, but I'm not giving up till it's done. So I know we'll be back, and I know that what I did this year was the right choice for me. And I'm very proud of myself, and I'm very grateful to everybody who supported me along this journey. So if you watched this far, or if you were part of the journey this year, whether it was a message or it was, shaking my hand and coming up and talking to me after one of the contests, or it was just listening and messages on Facebook, whatever it was, I really value that you took the time to do that and to be part of this journey with me. And one day when I am a world champion, I hope we can look back on this year as a pivotal year for me, because it made me realize that the persistence is the key, and that you have to do what's in your heart first, because that's really what life's about. So thanks for watching. I hope this is of use to you, and I'd love to know your thoughts below. So leave me a message, and the journey will continue, my friends. I'll chat to you soon.